Can you give us an idea of how, what went through your grid, what through your mind when you were trying to fit the right American language, the terminology, contemporary American, and match that to the biblical text? There's some kind of process that would be easy to explain, or
I don't know if I can, John. It was very much it was formational of who I was. It wasn't a technique. It wasn't a strategy for translation. It was. I found out that later there were names for that, but I didn't know the names.
Okay.
And I was just trying to get this into the language of these people that I was living with. But I do remember something distinctive. When I agreed to do this, I resigned my congregation, and Jan and I were invited to Pittsburgh Seminary to be a pastor and writer in residence for a year, the academic year. And that's when I started seriously to do what you asked me to do. And I think I said to John, you know, and Paul is easy, because Paul gets all tangled up and he gets his verbs wrong and wrong places, and he's a poet, and he's not careful. So I get to straighten him out. And but the New Testament, I don't think I could do the Gospels. You know, they're already so kind of limpid and lucid and just simple and plain and just artless. And John said, well, you do 10 chapters of Matthew and let me decide. So I did. And now we're in Pittsburgh. I'm a faculty. I'm around professors all the time. And I knew these professors. And every time I sat down to do this, I had 4 or 5 professors sitting on my shoulders. And I was trying to be as good a translator as I could. And it was just as bad as I thought it would be. And at one point, John wrote to me and he said, what's going on with you? What's happening here? And this isn't the way you've been doing this. And I realized then what had happened. I was trying to be a professor again. And I was no good as a professor anymore. I was a pastor. So I knew I'd failed. And I went downstairs. I had my study in the basement, and I was at Matthew 5 and the Beatitudes. And I knew this was hopeless, so I just played. And I translated the Beatitudes. And I did about 15 minutes. And I came upstairs. Jan was folding clothes in the bedroom. And I said, you've got to read, you've got to listen to this. And I started to read this. She said, I've got to sit down. And I recovered my pastor voice. And I recovered my American